Hello. Welcome to Teaching Cookie Classes with Amy Glendinning. Hello, welcome to Teaching Cookie Classes with Amy Glendinning. I'm so glad you're here. I am, of course, starting off by testing out my tech, making sure you can hear me, and making sure that my screen is actually sharing. So if you can, I am trying to share my presentation. If you can't see it, please comment and let me know. But also I want you to comment and tell me how you feel. Hi, Heather. How you feel about cookie classes. Do you love them? Have you taught a bunch? Have you never taught them before? Are you excited about them? Are you terrified about them? So go ahead and comment with what you're excited about, or how you feel, or anything like that. I might need to start this over if my screen isn't sharing because I'm not seeing it yet. Let's see. I gotta make sure that my cookie class lesson is visible to you, and if it's not, I might need to just back this up and start over. But I'm really glad to see you guys here. We're getting some people starting to come in. I've probably taught about 12 cookie classes, maybe 15. Some of them were for free. Some of them are with with pay and everything, and both methods have been really helpful for me to learn how to do this. Yeah, I'm still getting indications that you guys are viewing my presentation, but I don't think you actually are. I don't think it's visible to you yet. So if you guys will just hang on for 1 second. All right, it looks like we have some people with a variety of experiences. Okay, so I'm seeing some people who have experience with teaching cookie classes. If that is you, I would love for you to share thoughts when I share my experiences, for you to type in, okay, here's what I do that's different, because we're all going to do it differently. And it's just great to have different ideas so that we can be like, that is going to work for me, that isn't. My husband is currently trying to update my internet so that I'm not so glitchy. And yeah, I guess if I have to, Heather, if you could give me advice for how to make the screen share. I follow the directions in the video, but it's not happening, so feel free to throw that out there. Here we go. Okay, so we might have to just do the super techie version of sharing my presentation with my phone. That's awesome. Okay. That's going to throw me for a loop for a second just while I get myself going, but let's see if we can do it. Or maybe I could just talk it through without the visuals. That'd be a bummer though. I've got a bunch of pictures in here for you. All right, I'm going to start talking it through, and I may reflect some of the stuff back to you in just a second. But my name is Amy Glendinning. Thank you for your patience these first 3 minutes while we worked on tech stuff for a second. I'm teaching a class on how to teach cookie classes, not because I'm a pro at it, but because I've taught a number of them now, and I feel like I've developed a system that's working well for me, and thought I would share those ideas with you so that you can try to benefit from them. I have taught about a dozen classes. Some of them were just like spontaneously for family. Hey, do you guys want to decorate some cookies? This is a great idea for you if you're feeling nervous, because they don't really care, and they'll let you know what's working, what isn't, and you can even just watch them to see what they're up to. I've also done it for when I was at kids camp. They said, will you teach cookie classes to 30 kids at a time? And I was like, sure. And that taught me some things that how to handle large groups, and how personally I feel like 12 is a really good number. I don't like to push for more, but all right. So we're going to cover several things. We're going to cover finding a location. We're going to cover choosing a theme, designing cookies, how to market the class, barely, because marketing is not my strength, and I just have a couple little things to say about that. If you're here because you're really excited about how to market cookie classes, you're not going to get very much from me, but you'll have a couple pointers. I'll have materials for you and setup and how you can actually do instruction. So first of all, finding a location. And I would like to share the slideshow with everybody later. In fact, I might see if I can pop the link into the chat, and that way if you guys want to come and view it with me, that is an alternative way for you to look at it, because I still am having this screen share is not working for me. So I think this is one thing I'm going to do is pop the link into the chat, and that way if you want to hop over and look with me, you can. So here it goes. Link. Nope, I don't think that's the right one. I don't think that's in the right place. Let me try one more time. And what I would like to do is add ideas to my actual slideshow, so that later if people look at this, they can see what other ideas we have. I'm scanning through comments right now. All right, so this is going to be, I don't actually want my face in this, and I thought I chose the screen share option, but it didn't go through. So here goes, oh, it did, the link did go through, so that's good. Here it is one more time. I apologize for repeating myself. All right, come join me in my slideshow over there. Hopefully I'll see some people popping up in the slideshow. Yeah, I have some people viewing it. It will take you away from the visuals, but I hope you can still hear me. So you're either going to get the visuals or the hearing, and I hope a few of you will get both. Here's the 3 categories of where you can have a class. You could do it in your home. The benefit is it gives you total control. You have control of the space. You have control of all your supplies. That measuring cup that you forgot you would need is in your cabinet right there. For me, a downfall is that it means your home has to look good. I don't want to have to worry about that before I do a cookie class. And also, I don't like giving my location out to strangers. And so personally, I don't want to have it in my home. However, some of you have a dedicated space for this kind of thing, which is fantastic. If you have a cookie room, which there are recent pictures of in the Facebook cookie marketing group, those are some great ways a great way to host one. There's also, you can also do it in a public location or a customer's home, like a rec center or library, customer's home. It's low cost, it's easy access for a lot of people. It's not in your home, but it can be difficult to schedule it, and it might not be the best premises, and you don't really have control over the premises. You have to do it the way that they really want you to. And a third way to do it is in a store. You give a vendor a cut of each ticket, or you pay them a base price, and they get potential customers, so that's a benefit for them. And it's ideal if they will also do some basic setup for you. And this is a situation that I am thankful to be in now. And I'm just checking out the chat, and I see that Heather is updating. You're going to have to watch the live now and snag the PowerPoint later and rewatch the replay. So it sounds like if you go into the PowerPoint, you can't hear me anymore. I'm so sorry about that. So stay here with me in the live then if you're having audio sound problems, and I'll talk it through with you and you can look at it later. It's not ideal, but we're going to make it work. Okay, so those are 3 ways to do it. For myself, I am really excited that I get to be in a store, and the way it worked out for me, which was a gift from God, was that there's a lady that I know but didn't know super well who decided to open up a little sort of knickknack shop. She sells little notebooks and pillows and coasters and just adorable stuff like that. And it's in an old mall, which is happening more and more. These malls are shutting down. So she's able to rent her space for really low. And the problem she has is she doesn't get traffic in her store. So she wants to host cookie classes. It is very beneficial for her to host cookie classes. So if you know of anybody who is starting to open up a shop or something, point out to them that hosting a cookie class in there would get more traffic into their store. And so that's something that's working really well for me. And I'm really thankful to benefit from that. But I also want to brainstorm with you guys other ideas for locations. So I wrote down some and I want to add them to the slideshow that you've received. You could do it in a rec center, recreational center, a library, a coffee shop, a brewery, a restaurant, a knick-knack shop, a country club, a mall, a nice garage if it's not dirty, an upper class grocery store. What other ideas do you guys have? If you add some, I will try to come back here and add them into the actual slide, because I want to come up with a comprehensive list of different places that that you can host these. So throw a few up on there. It looks like some people are finding workarounds for viewing and looking at the slideshow at the same time. I'm thankful. Yeah, look at this. Yes, Heather, a symbiosis. It sure is. It is hugely helpful. And the fantastic thing for my personality is that I benefit from the accountability of having someone else say, so when are you scheduling your next class? What is the theme going to be? I'll put the link for the PowerPoint again. Ooh, hotel conference room, church. Fantastic. Oh, wow, these are great ideas. I personally like having this lady in the store, this friend of mine, because she'll be like, okay, I really want to go ahead and get your November class scheduled now. And I really appreciate her. She also posts pictures for me. She has a wider, she has a different reach than I do. So we have like double the reach because we're both, you know, advertising at the same time. Church. I'm not going to take the time to add all of them right now because it's going to totally slow my, whole thing down. These are great. Retirement home, community college, neighborhood clubhouse, winery, AR workshops. I love this. City Park Recreation Center, church hall. Yes, those are all great. Preschool setting. Yes, I have not taught many kids classes yet and I want to get into it. So I don't really have advice for kids classes, but yeah, preschool setting might be great. Okay, so I'm going to move on to slide 8, choosing a theme. And actually, I'm going to back up and just point out real quick in slide 3, this topic has already been covered many times in this group. There's a course in the Cookie College. There's episode 61 of Baking It Down. It's called A Breakdown of a Sugar Cookie Class, which is super helpful. I've heard that there was another live about this. I wasn't able to find it, but it doesn't mean it wasn't there. I think Corey may have even taught it. I don't know. And there are a ton of threads on the Sugar Cookie Marketing Facebook page, including a bunch just in the last week or something. So just wanted to point that out. And then let's jump back to slide 8, choosing a theme. You want to choose something that is fun. And who should it be fun for? I say you, first of all. If you don't think it's fun, you're not going to enjoy it and they won't enjoy it. But here's some other ideas to think about. What holidays are coming up? Right now, all my cookie classes are seasonal. So I'm about to do a pumpkin truck leaves theme. Then I'll do a Thanksgiving class and then I'll do a Christmas class or a winter class. But in January, what am I going to do? Another winter class? No, I'm going to choose a fun topic. I'm not sure what yet, but maybe I'll choose fashion, or maybe we need flowers in the middle of January. I don't know. I'm going to think of something that interests me. You can also think about something that interests a lot of people in your area. Someone told me I needed to do a Friends class. I'm not going to be doing that because I don't really enjoy Friends. Please don't shoot me. But I know that would get a lot of coverage, a lot of attention if I just did a Friends class, or like The Office, or if you were doing a kids class, you could choose like a Disney or Pixar theme and they would have a lot of fun with it. So that's how I come up with my themes, and I'm excited for January to figure out what is that one going to be, since it's kind of wide open to me. All right, so then let's talk about designing cookies. Oh, but hey, if you guys, I'm asking for comments again. If you want to throw out some ideas now for what are some fun cookie class theme ideas, go ahead. And another one I did recently was tea party, because my location is going to start having tea parties, and she asked me to do tea party theme class. So I love doing that. It was a blast. Okay, I'm catching up on the reason we can't find Corey's live. Because of feet. Okay. Let's talk about how to design those cookies. So I want to remind everyone, these are all just the way I've chosen to think about it and what works for me. And I would love to hear feedback from people who've done this, especially ones who've done it a number of times. How do you design your cookies? But here's some things to keep in mind. We have a wide range of customer types. We have artistic customers and non-artistic customers, the ones who walk in and say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I hope I have a good time. Literally, that's pretty much a quote from some of my customers. Some people want to learn how to be a cookier. They literally want those techniques and the materials, and they just want one of the steps taken away so they can learn the methods without having to do all the baking and icing at first. Then you have people who have no intention of ever decorating cookies again. We're on slide 11, by the way. Some people like to get some basic instruction and then have freedom to design their own cookie. That's me. I've never enjoyed being told, you're going to make a rainbow with me. I was like, no, let me make my own design. Other people want you to tell them exactly what to create. And afterward, they're really happy when they have a beautiful cookie that looks exactly like yours, or more or less. And then you have people who are perfectionistic and other people who just get the job done. This will really affect your timing. The perfectionistic people they will never be finished with each step, and you will need to move on without them. And then you have your other people who just get the job done. They'll be done and waiting for 3 or 5 minutes while everyone else is still working. And they're fine. They're okay. They can sit there and hang out. If they wanted to take their time, they could have been slower. I was really proud of my last class because there was a table of 3 ladies who didn't know each other, and they were all perfectionistic and like anguishing over their cookies. And I was like, should I give them more time? And then the rest of the class was all ready. And I was like, we're just going to move on. And they totally caught up. So if you just keep moving, I'd say wait until the 2/3 of the class is ready and then go on to the next step. That really belongs later in the presentation, but I don't know if I wrote it down. So, all right. So here are some design tips that help me. Slide 12. Let me pause and check the comments. Oh, lingerie. That would be really popular in certain circles. Girls' night out. Cute. Don't mind if I steal any of these. Hocus Pocus, super popular right now. Charcuterie snack board. Cute. All the little veggies and everything. Disney, farm animals, seashore. Just did a seashore class. It was really fun. Desserts. Beach ball fall sets. Yes. Okay, good. That was fun to catch up on that. So we're on slide 12 if you're following along. So to save yourself anguish, choose designs you've already done before so you don't have to think about them. At least some of them. Maybe come with a couple new ones, but just, you're like, oh, I love making that myself. It's simple and it looks great afterwards. So use it with the class. I always do 6 cookies. Some people do 4, some people do 8. I feel like 12 would be a very long class, but it's up to you. But I try to do 2 super easy fast cookies, 2 medium cookies, and 2 or maybe 1 slightly more complex cookie, so that they can really dig into some of the skills but don't have to labor over it the whole time. And you want to give suggestions for ways students can branch out and change things if they want to, because you'll have some people who want to try to make things up. And so they don't have to make them look exactly like you did. They can change it up if they want to. And if they're happy with it, then that's great. You want them to be happy afterward. Slide 13, this is about icing. I think that Heather and Corey do this differently, and I know other people do as well. But for me, what works best is to have one piping consistency. So like 30-second flood, whatever it's called. It basically would never relax, right? Piping consistency, just one of a color that will look good with everything. And then 2 or 3 flood consistency icings. I don't want to do more than that because I have to bag all those up the night before. I don't want to do more than 2 or 3 per person. My last set, I was able to do just 2 because I was doing white china with the blue designs on it. So everyone just got a bag of white, bag of blue, and then their piping consistency in white. The problem was that I only had 2, and so I miscalculated, and a lot of people ran out of white, and I had to like go around squirting extra white in their bags and stuff, and it was so I needed to plan more for that. But usually I do 3 floods. So like I'm going to do a fall set in a couple weeks. I'm planning to include kind of a blue, a pretty fall blue, and then kind of an orangey yellow, and then a darker orangey yellow, or kind of brownish or reddish. I'll see. I'm not totally committed yet, but and I'll use those to do leaves and pumpkins and a pumpkin truck and a sweater. So those 3 colors, I can do a lot. If you have a cookie that has one light colored or one different colored area on it, just don't do that cookie. Or find a way to change the colors so that you can keep just those 3 colors. For example, I had a fox planned in here, but the fox needed white cheeks. And I was like, oh, I don't want to make everybody a bag of white just for one cookie. So I decided to actually change the fox cheeks to the to the yellow color I was using, and then have the rest of the fox head be darker red. And the people will be happy with it. Your colors don't always have to be correct or realistic. Give yourself freedom to simplify. I also thought of a fun way to bring in more color. Heather, I feel like I'm more lazy because I don't want to deal with all that flood. I want to have some control over it. Oh, and I'm seeing lots of great tips from different people. Anyway, a way to bring in additional colors. If you're like, but this one thing really needs a pink flower on it, make a bunch of royal icing transfer flowers. And that way you can bring in your extra color, and it's made ahead of time. If you like to make royal icing transfers, which I do, it's made ahead of time. You can use it, and that way they get to bring that little pop of color, or a leaf, or a bug, or whatever it is that you're trying to bring in. Make royal icing transfers, and it's like they get stickers. Who doesn't love stickers? And they can just go and stick them on their pieces. So in my tea set, the royal icing transfers were little petit fours and little macarons and stuff, and they got to put little pink ones on their blue dishes. So that was fun. I always personally, I enjoy royal icing transfers, and that's the thing that I do so that I feel like my class pops a little bit. I think that that's a good advice, is not to do royal icing transfers necessarily, but to think of something that you really enjoy you can use to make it pop. And don't use designs that require a lot of dry time before the next step, because you don't have any dry time, not much. So do stuff that can layer quickly. Here's some examples of how your designs can look. This is a basic design. All they had to do was flood it, and then at the end, they went back and added the little pearls on the starfish. This is, I should not be talking like you can see this. So I have a starfish and a sand dollar here. This is a basic design. They flood the starfish, they flood the sand dollar, and at the end, they go back and add a couple details to make it look better. It's one flood for the whole cookie. An intermediate design has a couple different parts to it. They have to, pipe the outline and then pipe a little more, and they have to flood it 2 different times. There's also a couple details on top. It's still pretty simple and basic. Intermediate can also include a little bit of wet on wet. I don't know how comfortable you guys are with wet on wet, but it is wonderful for, I need to stop reading the chat while I'm talking. It interrupts my brain, but it's funny. It's wonderful for classes because they can do really fun designs in wet on wet, and it has time. You don't have to wait for it to dry in between steps. In fact, you can't wait for it to dry in between steps. So that's why I love doing wet on wet during classes. And yes, Corey just dropped some ghost icing transfer sheets for you to make. Complex cookies. You don't want to get too crazy with it, but it's fun to give people a chance to really try out the wet on wet techniques and do different color combos and different details. So I've got some seahorses here. It has eyes. It has ridges on the back. It has different a little striped tummy. It has these little speckles on the head and on the back. And people really, really enjoyed making their seahorses. Their seahorses did not look very good, okay? But they were happy with them. So, find fun, cute things to do like that. There's a turkey. I haven't actually taught that in a class yet. I just made those, but I will be using that in a class in November. And you can see there's multiple parts that I had to flood, and there's also this fun feather wet on wet technique that I used. If I am not making sense about anything, please add comments with questions. So I'm trying to plow ahead because I have a lot more slides to go through. All right, marketing the class. Dun, dun, dun. I don't have much advice about this, but if your host has connections, it helps a lot. Together, you may have doubled the reach. Plus, you and she can get more momentum by building off each other's advertising. So like Heather said in the chat, symbiosis. I don't know if I said that right. Anyway, I'm finding it very beneficial to work with my friend Christy. She loves it because she's getting a ton more customers in her shop. I love it because I'm getting a ton more customers in my cookie class, and it's worked out really well for us. That's my only marketing advice. I apologize because I think some of you are here for marketing since it said it in the description, but then I realized I don't have much to say. Okay. And I'm glad that some people are feeling like this is clear. So let's talk about some materials. I've got two categories. Materials for students, like what you want every student to have access to. And then my second list is materials for what you just need to have extra. I'm going into this giant mall that doesn't have very many people in it. And I'm dragging a big wagon behind me because I have to walk all the way from my car. And no, Andrea, I have a presentation. I'll pop it in the chat. I set it up incorrectly, so I can't share it on the screen. Oh, good. I'm getting some questions. Good. Keep adding those. I'm going to try to come back to the questions so I don't derail my thoughts. I'll pause soon and answer some. But yes, please go check out the slideshow, and we are on slide 20. So in your wagon, on each person's spread, you're going to want a working area. A lot of people use trays. I don't currently have any trays, and because I haven't seen them at a price that I like. But also, I don't like having little walls around my workspace. It gets in the way of my wrists. So for me, it works better to lay out some wax paper, a big sheet of wax paper for each person, and then just arrange all their things on it around that. And I'll show a picture of several different arrangements that I got from the group. I do 6 cookies, and I'll just say now I charge $60 a class right now, but I just went up. I was charging $50, and it takes me 2 hours. So that quickly answers a few of the questions in the chat. I give them 1 icing bag in each color. When I'm doing a family event, if it's just my family, I actually don't do that. I'm just like, y'all, here's some purple. Who wants orange? And then they're like, hey, pass me the orange. So they're sharing, but they're family. So when you're having your own group, you pretty much want everyone to have their own icing bags. You want them to have a practice sheet. Now I have one, and I don't remember where I got it from, but I think it might be Sweet Sugar Bell. I don't know, but there's a ton of them online. If you just type in Royal Icing practice sheet, you'll find a bunch of different options on Etsy and other places for practice sheets, and they're probably better than the one I have. So a Boo Boo stick, which is, this little guy. I think I bought this one from Dottie. I doubt Dottie's here, but I love Dottie. She's the best from Sugar Cookie Co. Sugar Cookies. And I also got tweezers from her. This is useful for royal icing transfers and things like that, sprinkles, anything like that. You don't have to, but it's really nice to give them a gift cookie because it shows them what you can do. They're looking at what they can do. It's really not that great, but you're showing this is what I can do. Please come back and please order from me. If you have royal icing transfers, you can give that. I've been putting mine in a row, like I've been making the royal icing transfers in a row on my wax paper and cutting them into strips, and each person has a strip laid out on their thing. You can also give them a little tiny plastic cup with their royal icing transfers in it. Depends on how many there are and whatever you want to do. A take-home box, don't forget that. And I've just been using, I think they're 9x13 boxes from BRP Box Shop. And I do have a plastic lid with it so that if it's raining or something, they can cover it. It leaves room for them to spread out their 6 cookies and also pile their icing bags in it, which I let them keep because I don't want those. I don't want their old icing bags. I'm seeing more great questions pop up. I love it. I don't use sprinkles because I personally do not like the look of sprinkles on cookies, and I also don't like the bite. But if you're using sprinkles, include those. You don't have to, but you could give them a bottle of water. Costs what, like 25 cents? And then some mints. We usually scatter around. My hostess takes care of that though, but I love it. And a sheet of a paper towel. And then I, of course, have a ton of paper towels with me in a roll, but they all have their own sheet to use for wiping off their bag and stuff. And something that's been really nice is to have a name tag, either a sticker or a little, folded tent card with their name on it, so that when I walk around, I can see who they are, and so can all the other students. Then, in your wagon, I'm calling it your wagon because I have to have a wagon, you have a bunch of other things. Please have extras of everything. My last cookie class, I did not bring any extra icing bags because all the icing was bagged up. And then multiple bags that people were using had a flaw in them where near the tip of it there was a little hole and it was just squirting out the side. And I thankfully had enough extra actual bags with icing that we survived. But I was wishing so bad that I had empty bags. I could just drop it in and let them continue. So have extras of all these things. You need a full cookie set for you to decorate. Don't forget to set up on your area your full cookie set too. Like everything that everyone else has, you should also have. That way you can say, this is your boo-boo stick. These are your tweezers. Also, you want extras of each shape because in case of breaking or mess ups, which totally happens. And then what I do as a perk for the class is I just let everyone take the extras home because they paid good money for the class. Why not give them a couple extra cookies to enjoy at home? Maybe let their kid decorate or something, and they love that. And I made them. I don't need those shapes anymore, so it works out well for me. Extra full icing bags and extra empty icing bags. And if you have empties, you'll also want ties. I like to use, it's always debated what's the best way to tie off bags for customers. And I use these little guys. It doesn't seal it off perfectly, but they're reusable and they're really fast to put on. For me, tying knots takes me forever. I run out of twist ties, but these, I just pop them on there, and then I say, before you take your icing bag, give me the rubber band back. All right. I also bring an extra tub of icing, just who knows why, just in case I need to scoop some icing of one color into someone's bag or something. I only bring a pair or two of scissors because I want to cut all of the icing bag tips myself. I don't want them doing that. If they cut it too big, that messes me up a lot. I have to go rebag it and everything. So I just cut them all ahead of time. Lots of example cookies. They're like spread out around the group. I have extra practice cards for those people who want to do a little more practice first. I don't actually need music in my group because this is the mall and they have really fun. They have like 80s music playing in the background and everyone loves it. But I don't have to provide that, but it really does help for that silence when everyone's like, and there's just like fun stuff playing in the background. So if you don't have that, then you might want to bring it. It really does help. And then info about future classes you'll want to provide because people like to come back. If you make it fun, they like to come back, and you want to go ahead and snag those customers. Look, I do have marketing advice. Look at that. Okay, let's move on to the actual setup. So here are some examples. So Heather Campbell Brookshire posted this photo of her setup. You can see she has 4 icing colors. I assume they're all the same consistency. It looks like it to me. Oh no, she has 5. She has a 5th one there. She only does 4 cookies. But you can see they're really, she has a couple of really detailed ones. The truck and the wagon would be pretty detailed. She has her gift cookie. Looks like every student gets their own pair of scissors. And she puts her card in one of those plastic sleeves, and hers is a full page. So that's what she chooses to do for hers. This is Sean Brimminger Holly. I'm sure I'm messing up her name, but this is her setup, and she has 5 icing colors. She used tape to close them off. She has her sprinkles in little cups. She has 6 cookies, and a cute little bag. Don't know what's in there, but I assume it's a gift cookie and maybe a couple other little things. Her paper towel and her practice sheet, which she laminated. That's another good way to do it. Personally, I don't like reusing these because they get so messy. I don't want to wash them or clean them up. So we do it on cardstock and then we throw it away. The practice sheets. And then here is mine. I didn't take this photo. I never remember to take photos during the class. I'm too busy, but thankfully one of my students was like taking all these pictures. So I like to put the practice sheet in the center because that's where we begin. And that's a half sheet of paper, and they sit there, and I'll show you in a few minutes what that looks like. How it looks how we take advantage of those shapes to do wet on wet stuff. And got the 6 cookies on either side, got the 2 tools, the tweezers and the boo-boo stick on the left. And then our 3 icing colors for making our tea set. Y'all, this was such a fun set, but it was such an advanced set. I shouldn't have done it to people without charging advanced fees. But they rose to the challenge and did well. And there's my gift cookie. You can see my sheet of wax paper in the background and my sheet of paper towel. So, and here's the thing. I don't use a projector, which I think a lot of people prefer to. But I don't like them. I'm a classroom teacher, an elementary teacher, and I've been teaching for 12 years now. And I've had so many lessons get derailed because of technology not working. And I just don't like it. Also, my location does not have compatibility for that. So how I compensate. So I would have to bring in all the equipment myself and set it all up, adding an extra 20, 30 minutes to my setup, plus no guarantee it would actually work, right? So not worth it for me. So the way I handle it is I have the kids, by the way, we're on slide 27. I have them sit in a U around me. I'll show you a picture. So I'm in the center there in the sort of black and red. I'm standing up and I have a little tiny table with my paper towels and my full setup there. And then they're in a U around me. There were 9 people for this class. And so they couldn't all see completely, but it was okay, going back to slide 27, because I would demonstrate it in the center on my table or in my hand, but then, you know, Mrs. Potts would be like, I don't know, can you show me that one more time? So I'd walk over to her and do it again for her on another cookie or on a piece of paper or on her wax paper or on her cookie herself. I could do it on her cookie, maybe a tiny bit of it. So, and I would just walk over and help people, or I would just show with my hand, okay, now drag your boo-boo stick through it this way. I also have lots of sample cookies scattered around on the tables so that they can pick it up and look at it. And often the sample cookie is a little bit different design than the one I'm showing them. So they can say, oh, I could make the flower look like this, or I could make it look like that sample cookie. So it gives them more ideas. And that is how I handle doing the projector, no projector. So I'm just peeking. Oh, I see more people asking how to see the pictures. Here's the link to my slideshow that is not showing up in the chat. And I'm going to stop here for a second and go back and catch up on a bunch of questions. It's not all loading, but what's the boo-boo stick? It is a scribe. It's a scribe that, for me, disposable, but I keep these. I don't let them take them with them because I don't want to have to, I forget to order stuff, and I don't want to have to be like, oh, I can't teach class because I didn't order boo-boo sticks. You can use toothpicks too, though. Gift cookies are sitting at their spot when they show up. I'd like to max out at 12. I'd love to get more people, but I've heard people say, oh, I was afraid you would have 20 people here, and then I came and there were only 10. I love this. This is so much better. People really like to feel like you can talk to them and they can talk to you. How much icing do you put in a bag? I am not scientific about it. A solid scoop with my spoon. I'm sorry. And sometimes I get nervous, so I always add just like a dab more. It's completely unscientific, but it's worked out except for the one time where I only had 2 colors. Let's see what else. What other questions? Oh yeah, heat sealing them. Fantastic idea. Someone suggested to keep the icing from popping out the bigger end, which is always a problem with people who aren't familiar with it and with people who are. Heat seal the end of it. Fantastic idea. Thank you, Kim Pollack. Do you put more icing than they will need in their bags? Yes, I do. Because you can't really squeeze a bag well when there's no icing left. So I do try to give them extra icing and they can take it home. Do I share my cookie recipe? Sort of. I got my cookie recipe from the Barefoot Baker. I'm going to type her name in the chat. And I got my icing recipe from her too, although she did Antonia's. Or was it Haniela's? I forget. Anyway, I got it from her, but I've tweaked it since then. I don't give them the tweaked version. I tell them this is a fantastic recipe, and that's basically what I use. How do I see what you're talking about? Hopefully you have the link now. Stop laminating. Yeah, I just prefer to throw that stuff away. Looking for more questions. Okay, so let's see. Kelly Wick gives a gift bag with a 3D printed cutter relating to the class. That's a sweet idea. You can also buy cutters at Dollar Tree because you can buy a 6-pack for $1 and just, if it's seasonal, just give them each a leaf or something, or each a different kind of heart thing. I've done that before too. 2 piping bags, 1 medium, 1 small, a royal icing recipe, and a cookie recipe. I don't like bothering with it, so I don't. They can go look it up. But that's a sweet idea. I have received those when I've attended classes. Some candy, business card, some candy. Yes. How many sample cookies? I usually do about a dozen sample cookies. So 2 of each design or 3 of each design, depending on what I have time for. How often do I have repeat customers? Well, I've only taught 3 regular classes. I've taught a number of classes in the past that weren't recurring. And so I don't know about that. But every class has had at least 1 recurring customer. So I guess it's not a lot, but a lot of people seem very interested in coming again. Buy disposable scribes from Sugar Dot. What does Sugar Dot call her name? There she is. I'm going to tag her. Sugar Dot Cookies. And she is the queen of supplies for anything like this. Okay, let's get back into the class because time is a passin'. Instruction. So I'm going to go over what you can say. So here's the thing. People who attend a cookie class should be given the freedom not to be perfect. So you want to coach them and tell them it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Your goal is not to make perfect cookies. Your goal is to have fun, and pretty much putting colorful icing on a cookie looks cute. So it's going to be good at the end. So encourage them about that, but they should feel like they had success. So at the end, they should feel like, okay, that kind of looks right. It's not a horrible mess. It's just a partial mess or something. You want them to feel walking out like, yeah, that was fun. I learned something and I'm a little better at this. And my cookies are kind of fun looking. And they should have fun doing it. I used to have a problem with, I'm on slide 30 now. I used to have a problem with people just sitting there the whole time looking at other people's cookies and murmuring to themselves, oh man, hers looks so much better. So I actually often start class by saying, you might feel insecure looking at someone else's cookies. Don't do that. Don't let that take away from your joy in the class. Our cookies all look weird. And actually my sample cookies that I'm making during class often look strange because I'm like holding them up so they're dripping. I'm not going for my whole study process I normally use. So my cookies that I'm making also turn out funny during class because it's not a good setting for me to make pretty cookies. So anyway, and I see a new question. Are each of your classes different designs? So far, pretty much, but I have a few. Oh, Sean. Oh, Sean, you're in here. Yay. She set up a photo op area where they take pictures of their finished sets. That's a great idea. I love it. But I do have a couple cookies I like to reuse. I did a wet on wet class live in Sugar Cookie Marketing a year or 2 ago about these mountain cookies that I love, and I usually find a way to integrate that into my classes because I think they're really pretty and people enjoy trying something that looks so pretty. So sometimes it's fun to choose your signature cookie and do it every time. And if you have repeat customers, they'll get better and better at it. But I do different themes for different classes. I know other teachers will offer the same theme more than once because the classes will fill up. And that way you can say, well, I can't do the fall class on Wednesday, but I can do it the following Saturday. So I'll sign up for that one. So you can redo themes if you want, but I haven't been. I'm just doing them once a month right now. Okay. So before class starts, I lay out each place setting. You are probably going to have people show up early unless the doors are locked to your space. But I would encourage them to come on in if you can handle it, if you can mentally handle setting up while they come in and you chat with them. Don't make them just, I mean, we're all different. I'm a people person, so I love chatting with people, but I know that for introverts who, I'm an introvert in some ways, but it can be hard to just start up conversations. But see if you can ask them where they're from, why they're excited about the cookie class, what they've been up to today. And so just chat a little bit. And then when more people show up, they'll talk to each other. I also, that's when I trim my icing bags. I'm doing it all myself. I'm not letting them do that. And I'm just doing it as they're coming in. I'm walking around trimming the icing bags with my washed hands. I don't wear gloves personally, but I do make sure my hands are all clean. And my hostess wants people to register when they show up, which is probably a good idea to make sure you know who people are and that they're really supposed to be there and that they paid. And once in a while, I have someone who said ahead of time, promise I'm bringing cash, and then they go pay at that time. Usually they have to pay online ahead of time. And for me, it really helps to have another person. And it's just worked out each time that I've been traveling with someone who lives near me and they're like, can I ride with you? And I'm like, yeah, come with me. And they're my helper and they help me get set up. It goes faster and they can kind of take some of the conversation load if my brain is full. So this is the 30 minutes before class. They start arriving 10 minutes before class. You're chatting with them. You're getting things set up. People are getting comfortable. And then you can begin. And you want to try to begin pretty punctually if you can. If you have people who are late, go ahead and start talking about yourself and just do a slow start to the class. Introduce yourself, tell some non-cookie details about yourself, and tell some cookie details. Say, how long have you been cooking? What kind of thing do you enjoy about it? What stuff do you normally sell? I'm going to make myself not answer questions yet. I'm going to come back to it. Then you'll want to talk about your materials, especially royal icing, if you're using royal icing, which is what I always do. Make sure, what I find is that people are often thinking of buttercream when they come in. And they're like, so when we get done, we need to put this in the fridge, which they shouldn't do because it won't dry. So I explain the difference between, one of the big differences between buttercream and royal icing is that buttercream changes consistency with temperature, and royal icing changes consistency with how much liquid it has. And so in order to get hard, it needs to have freedom to dry. So when you finish class, make sure you let these sit out for about 12 hours before you try stacking them. And from my experience, they really go stale more quickly if they're put into the fridge. But so they could seal them inside a Tupperware or something if they want them to, if they're not eating them right away. And don't forget that they can also freeze them if they want to keep them for a while later. So I explain those things about royal icing, and I tell them how it has meringue powder in it, and there's no eggs, there's no oil. Of course, there's no eggs, but no, I mean, anyway, we have our meringue powder. We could use eggs, but it's not as safe, so we use the powder. But there's no oil in it, which makes it really easy to clean up. Just one reason I love it. Then we start with our basic piping on our practice card, which I meant to bring with me but didn't. And here's what I do when I'm demonstrating. My early classes, people would try to draw with it like a marker, and I didn't realize how important it was for me to tell them, don't draw like a marker. What you want to do is treat it like a string that you're pulling. And so I literally hold up my finger and take my icing bag, and I say, you attach the string here, and you pull it out and lay it down. And this is for non-flood. This is for piping consistency, for those of you who are going to do it that way. And since I've done that, people have had so much more success with outlining their cookies because they do the string thing. They lay it down, pull it, and pretty much everyone has been successful at that, when previously they were like making these squiggly lines as they tried to push their icing onto the cookie, and it was messy, and they're doing a lot better. So that's been a game changer, to show them that method of laying down the string. Also, I comfort them that boo-boo sticks can fix pretty much all mistakes. Remember, that's this guy right here. This can fix almost anything. You make a mistake, just scrape it off. It seems to really make people more comfortable, because they're like, okay, this is not the end of the world if I mess up this piece of decoration. I can just scrape it off. And this is an example of a practice sheet. So then I teach them flooding and wet on wet. So they practice their lines, they practice their squiggles, they practice their circles and their hearts. And then I have them flood some of the shapes and do some little designs. So I don't know how well you can see on slide 35. I teach them a chevron technique. I teach them first it's stripes, then it can become scallops if you drag all one direction, and then it can become chevron if you drag two directions. And I encourage them, I'm like, later when you're decorating, if you want to put some chevron stripes onto your crab, you go for it. I mean, why not? Let them have fun with it. I show them how to make hearts, swirly hearts, leaves, flowers. Those are all things that I love using in my own decorating, and I teach them those tricks. And they really can, they don't get great at them, but they really can be successful at them. So we practice all that in those little flooding spaces. And this is when some people have wanted an extra practice card later. They want to try this again before the cookie. So I give them an extra card. And that's just happened a few times. Usually people are ready to begin with their cookies. So then what I do, and I'd be curious to know the people who use one consistency, how you handle it. I just go and we outline all of our cookies. They can handle the ones that are like intuitive, like the students can figure out to put the outline of this pumpkin, but they wouldn't figure out to start with an oval in the center first. So I would say, okay, start off with this oval in the center, and then you can follow the edge of the cookie to add on the other parts of the pumpkin and add on the stem. And everyone's just sitting there outlining cookies for 5 or 10 minutes. Then we have it all set up to start flooding. So I have them go in and first flood small areas that don't need wet on wet and are going to need to dry before the next section gets iced. So for example, this is such a funny crab. To me, this is not really a very good crab, but he was the only one I had when I had to get pictures in. So I took a picture of him and sent him in. But anyway, you can see how his little legs are blending together. So you would want them to flood the legs separately, like the top leg and the bottom leg, and then a little bit later we'd come back and add in the middle leg. And then later than that, we could add in the body. This is a fun way to add wet on wet, is just to give things a shadow or just color it half one color and half another. There's no complicated swirling involved. It's just adding some fun pop. So that's a cookie where you would want to go start off, maybe do the little claws and 2 of the legs to start off with, and then one eyeball. And then later you would come back and do the other eyeball and the body or something. I don't know. Those ones are touching, so that wouldn't really work. But so after we flood those small areas, then we'd go do some wet on wet stuff. So like we did this shell. I said, listen, you need to go ahead and be snappy on this, because if you wait, it's going to get crusty and it will not look as pretty. So we're going to flood it blue, whichever shade of blue you want. Put some stripes on there, whatever kind of stripes you want, and then we're all going to drag to the center to make this look like a shell. And that way people can do wide stripes or narrow stripes, or, you know, 2 different shades of blue. I think this class was blue, purple, and white were the colors they had. So it's an area where they can have some flexibility and still produce the same cookie as you. And then, so after you finish all of your wet on wet stuff, you can go back and add some piping details. And this actually, these flip-flops, I think they look so classy by themselves, but I also gave them royal icing flowers transfers to stick on the little tips of the straps, so that, you know how flip-flops sometimes have details there, so they could put flowers on there if they want to, or even coat the whole strap with little flowers. So that was fun. Some customers did that. Just a reminder to keep adding those questions to the chat if you want to. So at the end, we go in and add those final details. That's one reason I like having the piping consistency, because I think it's really fun to add like this outline of the shell in slide 38, or the details on the little crab's mouth on slide 37. So, and here's something I found is that the seahorses that I posted earlier, I had some students who had a lot of little separate parts, and some students just went ahead and flooded the whole cookie. And I was like, internally, I was like, no, that's not what it's supposed to look like. And then I thought, it doesn't matter. they can flood it that way if they want to. So if they flood it differently than you planned, just encourage them that if they're like, oh no, I did it wrong, say, no, it looks great that way. It's working for you. And the only reason I would say to correct them is if there's a technique that you can teach them quickly that would help them be a better cookier. Like if you add a little more flood icing there, it will make this surface look more smooth. And then you can, swirl it a little bit or something. If you see a way to teach a trick right there. And then after it's all over, you will thank them for coming. You'll remind them how to take care of their cookies. Give them their boxes if they don't already have them, and give them info on how to sign up for the next class and how to order cookies from you. Take advantage of that. I think there was a drying related question. Let me see. Let's see. Okay, suggestions for helping the drying process while working. I have never needed help with that because while one cookie is drying, you're working on a different cookie or maybe 3 other cookies. And by the time you finish that, it's been 15 minutes or 20 minutes and it's crusted over, and you can do another color on that cookie, or you can add some piping details. It's not strong enough to stack, but it's strong enough to add more icing without it flooding together. So I have not ever needed any help drying because I'm not putting anything very extreme on top of the cookies. The designs I just don't do designs that require that. So, let's see. And then I want to go ahead and answer Wendy's question about payments. I am super blessed that I'm not worrying about payments. My hostess is. Sorry. So she uses Square, and she's created a payment ticket, and it has a link, and I send it out to students when they inquire about class and like, here's how you pay, and they just go. And I do use Square for my own cookies anyway, but she's the one handling it in this case. So Square is great about letting them just pay with their credit card straight through the site. So there, I don't know how she has it set up, but I don't think it's too hard to do. She's also used PayPal in the past, but that actually didn't work very well for us because it didn't let them add multiple tickets. If one person wanted to buy for herself and her daughter, she couldn't. She had to buy twice. Okay. So slide 42 is final tips. Make the class you do it the way you would enjoy it, and do the things that you have fun with. If you're having fun, you're going to make it fun for the guests. Try to find something that you really enjoy to make the class pop. For me, I feel like it's the wet on wet stuff and the royal icing transfers. Those 2 things make my class pop, I feel like. Oh, here's a tip to save you time on advertising. If you're trying to get a picture out and you're like, I have to make all 6 cookies and know my designs, you don't actually have to. You could just post a picture of one of your cookies and say, we're doing a fall themed class, and have a big pretty leaf on there. Come join my cookie class. And that gives you more time to finalize your designs, and even time to make a last minute change. If you order a cookie cutter and it's like totally the wrong size or something, you don't have to use it because it's not pictured. Also, I would encourage you not to overpack customers. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Feel free to comment. I mean, it is such a good, if you can fit 30 people in there, it's good money, right? But it's not necessarily a great experience for them. So I'd encourage you not to overpack it. For me, 12 is turning out to be a really good number. And if you are wanting to do cookie classes, but you're nervous, just have fun hosting a class with your family, or just like a couple years ago at Thanksgiving, I just had some icing and I knew we were all getting together, and I just brought some random icing, and it was like pale purple and brown and orange because and like blue or something, and I'd had 2 or 3 different cookie sets I'd been working on, and I just brought the extra icing with me and some random cookies. It was like maple leaves and snowflakes and circles. I don't know, it was very random, and they just sat there and had fun doing it, and I got to feel like what works for them, what doesn't, and they didn't know they were my experiment. But they were happy doing it, and I was happy figuring out, like, I learned some good things from that. So just find a few random friends to say, hey, I'm going to bring cookie supplies along. Let's decorate a little bit. And it'll give you a sense for how it works and what kind of instruction they need. And I think I'm ready for even more questions. Are there any more questions? We have 2 minutes left, but I'm going to go over a little bit. Okay. How much do I pay her to use the place? Great question. I pay her $35 per class, straight fee, and then an additional $10 per ticket. So I get $50 for each student. And it's great, except for the $35. So, and she cuts me a check at the end. She hands me a big check. Do you take photos of your class participants as a group? I always intend to, and I usually forget. So I love the photo shoot idea because it's already set up and it reminds me it needs to be done. Do we get to help? Do we get to keep these slides? Yeah. I mean, here's a link to it again. Feel free to look at them, and whatever's helpful to you, feel free to email me. My email is at the end there. I've been filling 25 seats, so nervous at first, but I found a system that works for me, and 2 hours allows personal attention to everyone as well as teaching. Maybe I'm a glutton for punishment. Yay, I'm glad it's working for you. I think, do you use a projector? I'd be curious, because for me, without a projector, I don't think I could handle 25, because they just wouldn't be able to see very well. So I think with a projector, I could do more than 12. But any other questions or thoughts? Feel free to share more advice if you had more things you found that work for you, like Sean just shared. But thank you very much, everybody. Oh, good. We have some more questions that I overlooked somehow. How do you handle kids' classes where they have such a short attention span? They derail and randomly decorate the whole set in 5 minutes. Yeah, I haven't really, except for teaching my own classroom students, and I did those like 2 at a time. I would be like, okay, you two come back here and make your gingerbread man with me. I think it's tricky. If I were going to do it, which I'm hoping to do, I would keep the classes small, like 8 to 10 kids, and maybe only give them a cookie at a time, and just lots of reminders like, okay, everybody, hold it in your hand. Don't touch the cookie yet. Don't touch it. Okay, look, in 1 moment, we are going to draw an outline on the body of the crab. Don't touch the legs yet. Okay, color in the crab. And you just have to give them lots of reminders, but they are going to mess it up, and hopefully they're still having fun. I think that's the goal, that they're having fun. How long do you need to post your ad for a class in order to fill it? Great question. I post them like a month in advance, but nobody signs up till a week before. It's so funny. And we'll be like, me and Chris will be like, have you got anybody yet? No, have you got anybody? And then it's like 2 days before the class and it's full. So I have not taken a cooking class yet. Where should I begin? Hey, yeah, see if you can. Oh, yeah, this is what I also did. I attended another Cookiers class. Debbie, who I think is in this group as well, Cookies by Debbie. She lives in Myrtle Beach like I do, and she's been cooking for a long time. I think like 10 years or something, and she's a pro. So I attended her cookie class, and it helped a lot to see what another cookier does. Gave me a lot of confidence. Yay, I'm glad it's helping people. If you have a photo opportunity, do you have student consent beforehand in writing? Yeah, I think that if they didn't, you would just clarify, I'm going to use this photo in social media. So if you don't want to be in it, don't get in the photo. I don't usually worry about having it handwritten. But someone let me know if there are legal concerns about that. I know that at schools that it's assumed that they can be online unless they've written especially to give them to say, I do not want my child online. Yay, I'm glad some people are getting some good feedback. Girl Scout class. I want to know how that goes. Lori, I wish you would message me later and tell me how that goes. Cindy can tell I'm a teacher. Yes, I am. Yeah, Wendy, that's tricky. I know we've been messaging some. I would wait until you have your location firmed up before you advertise it. But you could say, hey, I'm going to be hosting classes. Let me know if you want to be on my email list. And you can set up an email list. Oh, yeah, Sean, I think you should make a post about what you do for this photo op. I want to know how you do that. That sounds cute. Let's see. Sarah says she gives a handout picture of the sample set so they can refer to it. Oh, yeah, that's another great idea. Take a photo of your sample set, print it out in color or not in color, and give it to them so they can look at it. That's a great idea. Maybe even better than the sample cookies. Oh, y'all are so encouraging. Thank you. Do you have to be cooking for a long time to hold classes? I think if you have the confidence to do it and have something to offer, go for it. People will be like, oh, I'd love to learn from you. the people who haven't cookied before think it's really hard, and they also think it's really easy. All right. Well, listen, I love how people share. Like, for example, Sean shared about her cookie setup. Other people too. So please, please, share how your cooking classes go and what works for you and what doesn't and stuff, either with me privately or with the whole group. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll stay here for a second longer to see if there's any more questions, but we're done now. I'll give you the link one more time, and I'm going to try to go back and update it with a few of the suggestions you guys made, especially for locations. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for coming. Have a great night. Y'all are encouraging. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Glad you all came. All right, looks like the questions are done. I'm going to go ahead and close it out now. Goodbye, everybody.